Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome, welcome. What's up, Dead Man? What's up, Stalkus? Hope y'all are doing well today. Hello, hello. Yeah. Hi, what's up? Yo, what's up, Vess? Welcome, welcome. GameCube on ice. Yo, what's up, Philip? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Brain Shodden. Yeah, it's too hot to sleep. It's also too early to sleep. Imagine going to bed early. Could be me, actually. I'm probably gonna try to go to bed after the stream because I'm eepy. I'm fucking really eepy. But I also might stay up and play video games instead because that's what I usually end up doing because I'm a goddamn freak and an idiot and a fool. So we just chatting? Yeah, we just chatting. I didn't do it last time because it was a pretty short vacation, all things considered, but this time, because it was longer, and there's like actual stuff I can talk about, I figured I'd talk a little bit about like, you know, where I was past week and a half, how the vacation went, what kind of stuff happened, good, bad, funny, yeah, get like a good stream, like an hour, 2-hour stream out of it, please the YouTube algorithm gods, and then go to bed. Also doing a weekly just chatting isn't a bad idea anyway. I don't know if I touched on it too much. I feel like I talked about it, but also my memory doesn't work most of the time. I want to do like sort of a more fixed weekly thing. Like obviously the streams won't always be the same every week. Like games will change, topics will change, but I want to be a bit more consistent with like what types of streams I'm doing on what day. So like gacha is Monday, chatting is Tuesday, so those are always going to be pretty much like, okay, Monday's Honkai Star Rail, maybe Limbus Company, maybe next week I'll do Limbus Company, I was kind of thinking that. And then Tuesdays, I mean, just chatting, so, you know, talk about stuff, come up with some kind of topic. Today's one was really easy to come up with, but, I don't know. I want to get better at it anyway. I want to get better at being able to just sit here and ramble without playing a video game and having shit to complain about in said video game. It's a good skill to have. I already feel like I'm pretty good at it, but can definitely be better. And besides, I know it's a type of stream that people like, so there's that too. I have a question. Want to listen to music as we chat? We are listening to music. We are listening to my background music by Oka Manko. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Cool individual, medium booba, also a burb, so got some stuff going on. That Oka lady, that weird fucking other piss burb. It's weird, every burb VTuber I know has something to do with piss. I mean, obviously piss is my thing, it's like, piss! I don't know where that, like why I started doing that, but I did, and now it's one of my things. Apparently Oka pees herself a lot. Part of Nariko's design is yellow, so I'm gonna call that piss. So yeah, that's 3 bird VTubers with something piss related about them. That's wild. Yeah. Anyway, I don't remember why I went on that tangent. Oh yeah, the background music. Yeah. So we got the background music. That's gonna be the music. As always with these. But yeah, and then Wednesdays are going to be the members only, and then I have like the time after the members only if I decide to stream. Tomorrow I won't. I might be appearing on someone else's stream depending on whether or not they decide to stream. I'm playing Sunhaven with Miyu Minty. I think Nariko's joining, and Kishi also might be joining, but I don't know if anyone's streaming that or not. It might just be an offline thing. But yeah, so like Wednesdays after the members only, we have like fucking there's room for me to do like a gorilla stream, a monkey stream. Yo, what's up, Sheepy? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, and what was I talking about? I was talking about the weekly stuff. Oh god, I'm so out of it. Thursdays would be my off day. Pretty much never gonna stream on Thursdays unless I'm doing a collab, which is funny because this Thursday I'm doing a collab. That won't be on my channel, but I'll still link it in the Discord in case you want to watch. It's gonna be a cool thing. I've got another poly friend. She wanted to have me on. Oh, y'all know her. It's Guest Pearl, Guesty. Hopping on there, we're gonna talk about our experiences being poly for a bit. And then if you're on Twitter or Discord, you know that my PS5 arrived today from Amazon. They were somehow able to find my Nest. So, probably because I gave them the address. I don't know why I phrased it that way. But I got my PS5 today. It got here on time. So that means on Thursday, the Final Fantasy 16 release date, I get to play and stream Final Fantasy 16. So after that collab, I'm gonna hop right off and we are going to play Final Fantasy 16 on launch day. So I'm excited for that. I haven't played the demo. I don't think I'm gonna play the demo because I kind of want to go into it completely blind. I guess I could stream it like tomorrow maybe if other plans fall through, but I don't think they will. And today, I mean, frankly, I just don't have the energy to set up my PS5 and get everything working. So I guess I'm probably gonna have to do that tomorrow too. Oh god, oh fuck. But yeah, Final Fantasy 16. From what I've seen, it looks better than Final Fantasy 15, which is a pretty low bar, but it is a bar nonetheless. As long as there is actual combat and actual gameplay, I will be happy with the new Final Fantasy game, I think. Bringing a fucking body armor, I never do that, but I got back from Birbcation, and I don't really have any like soda or anything, so the only thing I have that wasn't water was body armor. I usually keep it around for like when I host parties and stuff. I got it for Zeki, because when someone gets really drunk, they're less likely to want to drink like water, but they will drink something flavored. So I got a bunch of body armor, which is just like it's just like healthier Gatorade basically. It's like Whole Foods Gatorade. Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's like all I had that was flavored. And I already had my Monster Energy for the day because by this point I always have, because I have a human job and I need it for my human job. And I don't want to drink another one because I don't want heart problems. So, body armor it is. We got some motherfucking fruit punch in this bitch. But yeah, so Thursday's my off day, but I am streaming this Thursday because I'm ridiculous, and probably that will continue into the foreseeable future, because even though I say I'm going to take breaks for my mental health, I then proceed to never take breaks. So you know how it'd be with the burb. Fridays, I want to try doing ASMR streams on Fridays. I don't know how they're gonna go. I don't know what tomorrow's is gonna be like, but yeah, we're gonna try an ASMR stream again, see how it goes. If it goes well, we'll keep doing them. If not, I'll replace Friday with something else. I feel like it's a good way to end the week though, comfy vibes. Plus this week it makes sense because on Saturday, we gotta wake up early to stay up for 24 hours together for charity. So at 10 p.m. on Friday, I'm gonna put y'all to sleep, and then at 10 a.m. on Saturday, I'm gonna wake y'all up with burb noises. Good timing, stream elements. Buy some shark plushies, it'll contribute towards the goals. Also check the pinned comment. Hello, do you have any sweet around? Because I'm craving sweet tooth. I don't mind having you for a midnight snack. You can have like a feather, like one of the ones that fell off. It probably tastes pretty good. I'd prefer if you didn't eat me like while I'm alive, at least. Maybe after I'm gone, which won't happen because I'm immortal, but in theory, maybe after I was like gone, you can have it, because at that point I don't really care. But yeah, please try not to eat me. Greg. So Saturday this week is a 24-hour stream, but usually it's gonna be my story game playthroughs. So like after this Saturday, it's gonna be Final Fantasy 16 until I beat that. I don't know like how long it's gonna take me to beat that. I don't know how long of a game it is, we'll see, but that's when that's gonna be happening. But this Saturday is a special event, so it doesn't really apply. I might play some FF16, I might not, I don't know. I was thinking of dedicating one of the 8-hour blocks to just that. But I think I'd rather just leave it open and have it be like a do whatever I want sort of situation, because if I'm gonna have to be here for 24 hours, I feel like I should at least be able to stay sane for those 24 hours. Relatively speaking, I'm sure by the end I'm gonna be speaking in tongues, but yeah, that's the situation. And then Sunday, like it's always kind of been, it's like my break day, do whatever I want day if I decide to stream sort of thing. So this Sunday I'm probably going to be too tired to, but yeah. I mean, I don't know, I've done a lot of things on Sundays. I'm actually also considering turning Sundays into like rhythm game streams again, maybe every other one. So like 1 week would be a break, the next one would be a rhythm game, something like that. Then also I like leave the floor open to do like more of the story game if I want to make more progress. So like as I'm playing through FF16, for example, I might decide, oh, I want to keep playing this tomorrow because we're not making a whole lot of progress. So then on Sunday, I can just continue it. So it's a nice little thing to do. You just have a day for whatever. Keep some surprise. Never let them know your next move, sort of situation. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. All that to say basically that every Tuesday is going to be a just chatting stream like this, and I'll have to come up with topics and actually use my brain and think about the things I'm talking about instead of just I don't know what I'm doing right now, or I'm just like, yeah, haha, here's a haha funny D's nuts joke, woohoo! My streams aren't like that. I keep them pretty fresh, but there is a lot of that when I have no clue what to talk about when I'm playing a game, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's sort of what I'm thinking of doing with my schedule, is sort of, I don't know, standardizing it a little bit. It's kind of like too professional of a word, just making it so that you can expect the same kind of content on that day of the week. So if you're a Burb viewer that's literally only here for like, I don't know, Honkai Star Rail, for example, well, then you know to only show up on Mondays, I guess. Or maybe Sundays if I decide to do Honkai Star Rail on Sundays. Or Thursdays if I'm a fucking freak. Yeah. So that's that. I spent a lot of time talking about that when it really could have been like 3 minutes or even just a tweet. But hey, that's content, baby. So Birbcation. For those who may have still somehow avoided knowing this, even though I've like said it out loud and made a lot of shit posts about it and stuff. So the past like week and a half up until last Saturday, I was in Alaska, which was a real fucking trippy experience, let me tell you. A lot of people in the States are probably from like, you know, the main part of the United States, continental United States as they call it. Of course, I know a lot of people aren't too. But even though like the different states in the continental United States are different, obviously they have slightly different laws where they're allowed to, like different liquor laws, different, you know, chain restaurants, different, I don't know, just a lot of like minor differences. Alaska doesn't even feel like it's part of the same country. It doesn't even feel like it's part of the same universe. I'm gonna be honest, right? So I left, I did my members stream on Wednesday, and then I went to Birbafams because we were all flying out. And we flew out on Thursday. I'm gonna get Red Bull, I'll be back. Nariko, welcome, welcome, hope you're doing well, but also aren't you playing League with the homies? Keep playing League with the homies. You don't gotta like, you don't gotta abandon the homies just because your favorite orange motherfucker is streaming. Maybe you do, I don't know. Oh, they left you? F, this is so sad. Yeah, we were, well, they were playing League. I was sitting in call with them. What was I talking about? Oh, I'm catching, I have an ad in that chat where we're playing it, and there's some shit in there. Oh, I see what we're talking about. Okay. They think they're Garfield. Is Garfield a streamer? Sheepy? Is Garfield a streamer? I don't think so. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so on Thursday, we were on Thursday when I was leaving. We get on a plane. Okay, Garfcore. Honestly, yeah. I need a shower. I'm itchy as hell. BRB. All right, good luck with the shower. Keep losing my train of thought because things keep happening. Okay, so Burb fam, right? I have a very strange relationship with Burb fam, and I won't get super into it. You know, a lot of the things that I take issue with them with are, you know, it's kind of obvious why. You know, being as I am who I am, and they have certain beliefs about the type of person I am, and therefore I have to kind of like hide and mask around them. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't worry about it. I hope you never have to experience it. But there's that aspect of it, which already makes it kind of draining. But also they're just like really old and really like they act like they're old. There's some old people, right, where you meet them and they're like chill as fuck. There's this guy on Twitter that I really like, and I don't follow him on Ezra, and I don't know why not, but it's like this real old guy, and he does something called doink chats, where he smokes a fucking boof and then gives you life advice. It's one of my favorite Twitter accounts of all time. There's old people like that are like cool. There's old people that know how to use technology. There's this old lady back when Shin Megami Tensei 5 first came out. She got like the collector's box because she's a really big fan of Shin Megami Tensei, and she has been for like 5 years. Now understand, this is like a 90-year-old lady that's a big fan of SMT, which is already cool as fuck. But then like you get this interesting thing, and I'll find the video if anyone's curious. Just ask. It's not hard to find. I would hope, because I kind of want to watch it again actually. She had like this really cool chat about like what Shin Megami Tensei and video games in general meant to her, and just like some really insightful stuff that could only come from an old person. But these are old people that are willing to like, you know, look at new technology and new things and be like, hey, this is pretty cool actually, and not bad and evil. Burb fam, on the other hand, well, I will just tell you that for every place that we had to go while we were in Alaska, my dad had gotten onto the home PC, Burb father logged into the PC, went to MapQuest, and printed out directions. Yes, I said MapQuest, by the way. If you don't know what MapQuest is, I don't blame you, but I also question whether you're old enough to be watching me. Printed the directions out from where we were staying to that place, and carried it around with him for the entire trip. So that's the type of boomer we're dealing with. My mother's a little bit better. Burb mother's a little bit better than Burb father in that regard, but only a little bit. And that pretty much stops at she's not afraid to press buttons on her phone for fear that her phone will blow up in her hand, where my dad absolutely is afraid to press buttons on his phone out of fear that the phone will blow up. That might be a bit of an over-exaggeration, but I assure you it's not nearly as much of an over-exaggeration as you probably think it is. So these are the types of people I'm dealing with. So if it wasn't already painfully obvious, on Thursday morning, I was in the airport 4.5 hours before we boarded. Not 4.5 hours before the plane left. 4.5 hours before they start letting people on the plane. Which was fine. Maybe like 20 minutes of that was spent walking to the place, so that part was fine. And that was also really annoying because I have long, stretchy burb legs, and you would think Burb fam does too, but no, actually they walk very slowly, and I walk like a gay person because I am a gay person. So the entire time I'm like dragging my suitcase and backpack And my backpack's like sizable. When I travel, I carry like 2 basically full-size carry-on bags. I never check a bag because that's asking for problems. And it's also just annoying and costs money. So I have a carry-on that's a rolling suitcase, and then I have another backpack that's like a school backpack that by all counts is larger than the allotment for a personal item. But I know that not a single person that works for the airline I'm flying on will ever get paid enough to care that my bags aren't regulation size. And I can always get it under the chair anyway. So that's my money-saving tip for you. You don't need to adhere to the carry-on sizes as long as it's close enough. So just throw that bit of burb wisdom in there. Now, Burb Fam did check bags, so we had to stop at the counter to check in the bags. Yo, what's up, Death Annihilator? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. I'm assuming you were trying to say perb. No worries, typos happen. Minor spelling mistake, restart from checkpoint. So yeah, they check bags. So all this to say, I'm carrying 2 like bags full of clothes and other shit that I need for like a week and a half of being away from home. I had like my Switch, my laptop, all like most of the clothes that I actually wear. Hoodies and sweatshirts and shit because it was too warm where I was flying out of, but it was going to be cold where I was landing, so I needed to bring them anyway. And I'm walking like a gay person. Burb Father is carrying like a very, very tiny, basically like a Boomer Ida bag. It's like mesh. And my mother is carrying nothing. And they are the slowest people in the airport. So it took us 20 minutes in a very small airport to get from security to the gate where we were going to be taking off from. And that's fine, honestly. I complain about it because I like walking fast. Walking slow physically pains me. I guess it's more of a mental pain, but it feels like a physical pain because my legs are like, hey, jackass, walk faster, hey, buddy, hey, fucker. So that was already not great, but not terrible. The part that was terrible is now I'm at the gate and I have 4 hours to kill. So, as any burb with a brain would do, I left my bags with Burb Fam saying, you're responsible for these until I get back. And then I walked 5 minutes back in the opposite direction to a bar and drank 5 beers. So that was my airport adventure. At some point, the rest of the extended Burb Fam that happened to be on the same flight as us showed up. We had some of those beers, like maybe two of those beers I had with them, while the rest, like my immediate Burb Fam, my Burb Mother and Burb Father, are back at the gate being boring, sitting there doing God knows what. My mom is probably playing bingo on Facebook on her phone. I get back there, we get on the plane. Nothing really happens. We get our connector, blah, blah, blah. I had a pretty good beer during the layover. Beer is going to be a common theme, as you'll soon find out if you continue listening to this story and don't click off, because at this point I've probably lost most of the people's attention anyway. But I'm still having fun complaining. I always have fun complaining. But I had a pretty good beer in the airport that I was connecting from. It was in a very strange, like, little thing, though. They had, like, a barbecue restaurant, a smash burger, and, like, a dive bar, all, like, cordoned off in this one section of the airport that was the only place you were allowed to have alcohol. So I got this craft beer from the area, and it had this really good, yet oddly terrifying design on it that I won't show because I actually thought about showing some pictures on the stream, and I kind of wish I had more time to go through them. But I was sort of worried that some of them would have people in it, and it would be an accidental dox. So, without, like, editing stuff out, I didn't really have time to, like, put any up, or else I'd probably show off this can, because it actually was pretty cool. This is the thing about craft beer. They always have like really interesting can designs. Like half the budget for the beer goes into those designs. Choosing which craft beer to get, though, wasn't hard. The bar was selling 3. One was an IPA and one was a double IPA. And anything IPA is actually just the worst. And if you disagree, we're going to have problems. We're going to fist fight at a Waffle House. Fuck IPA. And why would you even bother making a double IPA? Because the first IPA was bad enough, we don't need a sequel. So I got the blonde ale, and it was what I ordered. It was a blonde ale. Nothing really to speak of. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite, wasn't my least favorite, but it was a good sip while I was waiting. Then we walked back over, got in the next flight. 6-hour flight. I slept for a lot of it. I got a rum and coke and a Jack and Coke on the plane because at this point I had already been drinking all day. I might as well keep it going, you know. Nothing really to report on either flight, though. They're just flights. You get there, you sit in your cramped ass seat and wonder what it would have been like if you were born in the 1930s when you got like a whole buffet meal on your flight, instead of being put in basically a pig pen, like worse conditions than the iron lung. But whatever. Flying is flying. You know what to expect. So yeah, we land in Alaska. Now at this point, I had been up most of the day. And at home, it would have been like, I don't know, like 10, 11 o'clock at night and like dark out. I landed in Alaska, it was like 7-ish. I opened the window after being like in the dark plane. And I'm fully expecting it to be like kind of dark and kind of easy on the eyes as I'm looking out while we taxi in, look at some of the sights. And let me tell you, there were some good sights, although I'll be backtracking to this in a little bit. But I open the window and I'm immediately fucking blinded. It's like in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, where they do that thing the first time you walk out into like the open, the outdoors, after being like either in the vault or literally dead in the case of New Vegas, where like you're blinded for a second because the sun is so bright. Well, motherfucker, if that shit ain't happened to me IRL, it was fucking daytime. It was like the sun was out with a vengeance in this fucker. Now it was still cold, mind, but it was fucking bright, and I wasn't ready for that. I knew it was a thing. I know that during the summer in the north part of the world like that, it is daytime most of the time. The same thing happens in like Northern Europe or like Greenland or Iceland or whichever fucking one it is. But I wasn't prepared for that to be like the reality that I was existing in. So that was a thing that happened. But I gotta say, the views, there are a lot of cool mountains. I was actually talking to Sheepy about this, so Sheepy, if you're still in chat, can and hopefully will back me up on this, because I actually showed her some of the pictures. But there's some like cool mountains and stuff, and it's very like wildernessy, but it's like fake. Like, I swear to you, Alaska is a government psyop. Like, I didn't fly northwest. I got in like a metal tube while the FBI and CIA combined forces to build up like an entire movie set around us to convince us that we were in Alaska, because there's no fucking way this place is real. It's so goddamn uncanny. Have you ever gone on like Google Images and looked up like mountains, just like a picture of mountains, like the one in my thumbnail, for example? Mountains in the distance just look like a fucking PNG. Like, I don't know how to qualify this statement other than to say that it looks like I'm on a movie set. And that never went away. From the time I landed till the time I left, every time I looked at like any view, I was like, this is fake. I don't believe that this is happening. Call me fucking Andrew Tate because I'm in the Matrix. Don't do that, actually. That guy's a piece of shit and apparently got charged with some pretty heinous shit today. So, unless he's proven innocent somehow, probably deserves skill issue. Anyway, Alaska's fucking a simulation. That shit ain't real. We're still in the first day, by the way. I'm getting all my like complaining about the actual place out of the way now, just so it doesn't bog down the later stories. So just understand, just make a mental note and have it in the back of your head that like anytime I'm out, like anytime I'm outside at all, pretty much, it looks very like fake and very like, I don't know, like you're in Top Gun or some shit, I don't know. Or like a movie that happened, like you're in Cocaine Bear, okay? You're in like the set of Cocaine Bear. So just, if you're trying to visualize what I'm saying, hopefully that helps. But we land, we get the checked bags, which if it was just me traveling alone, I would have already been like in my Uber on the way to the place. Because I don't check bags, I just carry my shit and then I get off the plane and I can immediately go, and it's super, super easy, super, super fast, super, super cheap. I'm kind of a travel expert at this point. Yeah, welcome back, Stalkus, and what's up, Joanna? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. So, yeah. Anyway, all that happens. Again, nothing really to report until we get in the van. And a couple of things happen when we're in the van on the way back to the cabin where all of the extended Burb fam is staying. We were actually the last group to arrive, so people were already there to set up and have stuff going on, and we'll get there. But two very important things that happen in the van. The first thing that happens is one of my cousins yells up to the driver that another cousin, he's like, we'll just use like the name Mike whenever we're talking about just like a random person. So Mike can be a whole bunch of different people. Just try to keep track of the context. I don't feel like coming up with names for everyone and trying to remember them, but I'm obviously not going to use real names. But we're sitting in the back of the van that we rented out, and one cousin yells up to the front, "Hey, Mark told you to stop for weed." And I'm thinking, like, we've been here for like a day max if you're the earliest group. How have you already found a dealer? So I ask this, I'm like, buy weed from where? And this is how I found out that, surprisingly, very, very shockingly, weed is legal in the state of Alaska. So now I'm thinking, in my brain of brains, I'm thinking, up until now, I thought that this was going to be miserable, and the silver lining was going to be that there's a lot of beer that I don't have to pay for, and I can get tipsy and just sort of coast through the whole thing. And now I'm thinking, we have a better solution. So I'm fucking pogging. But this is before I saw what Anchorage, Alaska looked like. Okay? That took my mood. Like, okay, at this point I'd already been like Sag, and then I was pogging, and then 5 minutes later I'm sagging again because I remember that I'm in Alaska. So as we're driving through Anchorage, the part with the airport looks like any normal downtown city, right? Like, tall buildings, stuff going on, people walking around. But you get about like 5 minutes out of the airport, and suddenly you're in like the most depressing, drab place you've ever been in. Think like, I guess, Breaking Bad, but cold. Like, it's very barren, there's not a lot of stuff going. Oh, I know what you can think of. Has anyone in chat ever played No More Heroes? Like the first one on the Wii? It's like Santa Destroy from No More Heroes. That's what fucking Anchorage, Alaska looks like. It looks like they made a town and then didn't have enough, like, disk space or, like, RAM on the console they were developing Alaska for to actually render the people walking around. That's what it's like. So very depressing, and I'm like, this place is gonna fucking suck. My cousin, the same cousin that yelled up about the weed, actually, he at one point said, if you told me I was in North Korea right now, I would believe you. And I thought about it for a second. I'm just like, oh, haha, that's kind of funny, but also kind of fucked up. And then I look back outside, and I had a realization that if I took a picture of, like, any part of this, like any place in this part of Alaska we were driving through, and, like, erased all the English on the signs and replaced it with Korean, I could probably trick some of the more gullible people on the internet into believing that it was a picture of North Korea. So that's the kind of place that I'm in my brain, and it ended up kind of being true, kind of not, because we did do some cool shit. But in my head, I'm like, why the fuck are we staying here for a week and a half? And then we got to the cabin. Or I guess I should say cabins. Because this place was actually kind of cool. It was sort of like a private day camp sort of thing, sort of situation. Like, you've ever gone to like a day camp? That's a very like American thing, I think, to have like, you know, a bunch of like buildings in the wilderness and stuff to do. It's kind of like that. I think they built it for their whole family originally, and then something happened, and now they live in one house, and then across the way they have these other 3 cabins, and they rent them out on Vrbo. It was pretty cool. Because the cousins got a house to ourselves. We called it the bachelor pad. Or I guess I should say the single cousins, because they're like cousins we have with kids, but they're like older and boring because they have kids, so they have to like actually do things with their lives. They can't like sit around drinking and smoking like I can with my no children and no life prospects aside from being a bird on the internet. So we got our house to do that. That was a smaller one. It was like the second floor. The bottom floor was where they ran like a business out of, I think. I don't completely remember the details. I don't remember most of the details from a lot of what happened because it was such a fucking long time, it felt like. It was a cool little place. And then there were other 2 cabins. There was like a main cabin and then one that was pretty much just used as like extra bedrooms by the family. But I pull in there and I immediately go to the fridge and get a beer because I need one, because it has been a long day and my buzz from earlier is starting to wear off. Apparently, in the time that I opened the door to the main cabin, walked over to the fridge and grabbed the beer, one of my aunts had done something funny because everyone was like howling, and I turned around and I'm just like, what the fuck? And then I went back outside and put my stuff in the place where I was going to be sleeping and just kind of sat there wondering why I even bothered getting on the airplane. So I understand I'm not going into this with the greatest mindset. Like, I'm the first to tell you, if you're going into something, and I've told this to Zeki before, like gacha games and anime games and stuff, I'm like, if you go into it thinking it's going to be bad, you're far more likely to think it's bad. And I realize I'm the biggest hypocrite in the world because I'm doing exactly that with this trip, and I'm not shying away from that fact. But I've also been on so many of these trips, but at least those ones we were close enough that like I could have bit the bullet and spent $1,000 on an Uber to get back. You can't Uber back home from Alaska. You're kind of stuck there. So really just not the greatest mental state to start a trip. But I slept. It was all right. Woke up next day. First day of actually doing stuff. So this is where I introduce the entity that is the extended Burb fam. How do I put this? I'm pretty sure we did the math And there were like 25 people in total that were on this trip that are of legal age to drink in our country of residence, which is America, obviously, so 21 or older. 25 of us, and I'm pretty sure the math came out to, we went through, on average, 6 cases of 30 beers per day. And we were there a week and a half. So again, just planting a seed in the back of your head so you understand some of the things I'm saying when I'm saying them. So if something seems like it doesn't make sense, that's probably why. So, with that out of the way, today was the first day, and we're not really doing anything super special. We're going on a couple hikes. So we wake up, we have some breakfast. I made a bunch of like eggs, sausage, breakfast stuff. We ate that, we went out, we went to some park. I don't know what park, it was some nearby park. I didn't really know where I was most of the time. And the reason being, I didn't drive at all. So a lot of the time I would get in the van and then just kind of like zone out, stare at the wall, or like get on my phone or take a nap. So I didn't really know like geographically where I was a lot of the time. I just knew like, this is a park. I'm at the park. Yo, what's up, Soul? Welcome. Hope you're doing well. I will actually repeat this because this is a pretty important fact that will be relevant for most of the story. So understand that for the past week and a half, up until last Saturday, I was in Alaska with my extended Burb fam for a week and a half. In that week and a half, there were 25 people that were over the age of 21 on this trip. And between the 25 of us, we did the math. On average, we went through 6 cases of 30 beers per day. So that is the important fact to keep in mind. So, first day, I get in the van, we end up at some park. So far, no beers have been consumed outside of the ones that were consumed the day before. Which, you know, fair enough. We're at some park, some state park in Alaska, and it was pretty cool. I was enjoying it. It was a nice little walk. It wasn't a super bad hike. The whole thing had like a solid path. There were some rocks on some of it. There was also a really hot lady with a dog, but she was running and I'm out of shape. So, you know, a lot of factors that stopped me from rizzing her up. Not that I would have anyway, because I'm not creepy, but like, you know, I definitely like she was attractive. You sort of have to be if you're like running. And the dog was pretty cute too. Like I kind of wanted to steal the dog and take it home. I like dogs. But yeah, so we walk down this path and we get to this place about halfway through. The way it is, it's like a big loop. So you start up like in this elevated area. There's some trees around. You can see some mountains and what I assume is the ocean, like an inlet of some kind in the background. Some good photo ops. Again, wish I could show photos, but I don't want to have anyone's face in it, and editing it out wasn't something I had the time or the spoons for prior to the stream, so maybe someday. But some cool views of mountains. You walk down this path, you can go either direction. There's a direction that leads to like some kind of informational thing, and another direction that leads to like a tree that was hollowed out so you could get in and take pictures. And the hole was child-sized. I ended up actually getting in it anyway because I'm incredibly tiny, and I thought it would be funny. I hit my head on the way out, and it hurt. It wasn't like hard or anything, but it was kind of annoying. I'm just calling, I need to bake cookies. See you next stream. All right, see you, gamer. Thank you for stopping in, as always. But yeah, so I got in that tree. We kept walking, and it's going downhill the way to the place. And it's like this little observation thing. It's got like this big wooden, I guess you'd call it like a dock. It's got like rails and stuff. It goes like over a little stream where you can see fish going through, allegedly, at certain parts of the year. Not while we were there because it's summer. But yeah, apparently you can see like salmon and stuff swimming through it. So pretty cool. But then like you walk further out and now you're like over this like ocean, water, body of water, whatever it is. I assume it's the ocean. A lot of water in Alaska is the ocean. So it probably was. And some mountains in the background. We got a big family photo there because of course we did. Very obviously not going to show that one. But you got like the mountains in the background. It was really cool to look at. I was like, you know what? Maybe my initial assessment of this place was wrong. Maybe this place is pretty cool. Maybe it'll be good to clear my mind. And it was. And we'll talk about that later, how I'm feeling after the trip. But it was a pretty relaxing time. And then we walked back up and... You know, some of my cousins, as I said, have very small children. So on the way back up, a lot of them were like running ahead and then tripping and falling and crying and screaming. So, you know, just as soon as I had found my inner peace out in the mountains, I had lost it because I remembered that children exist and that I would have to be listening to them for most of the time from now until I get home. So... really just not allowed any moment of like true pleasure without it getting ruined immediately on this trip, at least so far. That changes again when we get back up to the top, where two more things are going to happen here. That one of them pissed me off and the other one repaired the situation. So the first thing that happened is we got there and it's only been a couple hours after breakfast, mind, and I don't usually even eat lunch. But Burb Fam's like, all right, time to eat lunch. Everyone get your sandwiches out that you packed. Get your food out that you brought with you. And I am sitting here thinking to myself and eventually saying out loud, what the fuck do you mean, get my food out? Not once did anyone tell me that I was responsible for grabbing food and bringing it to this place. Now, again, I would have chosen to eat lunch later or not at all. But the fact that this was the plan and nobody informed me that this was the plan made me a little bit upset. I ended up stealing some like potato chips or something and eating some potato chips and it was all right. I didn't have to eat anything. I wasn't hungry, but I felt awkward sitting there being the only one without some fucking food. Whatever, not a big deal, all things considered. And at this point, we're sitting there, we're all eating, and my uncle, the man that he is, the retired man that he is, he asks very loud, note that we're eating on like a little like porch pavilion thing right outside of like the building where the park rangers are and like the staff. I assume someone probably has a gun in there somewhere. It is Alaska after all. He says very loud, "Hey, do you think we're allowed to drink beers in a national park in Alaska?" And then before he can even get an answer, he reaches into a cooler next to him and pulls out a Miller Lite. Now, he doesn't drink the Miller Lite. He takes it over to another cousin and he says, "Hey, Mike, have a beer." So he hands it to Mike and Mike cracks it open and nothing happens. Now, if you're smart or extremely manipulative, you probably realized what my uncle was trying to do here. He was trying to use Mike as the guinea pig to make sure that if he cracked open a beer, he wouldn't get arrested. And since nothing happened, now he cracked open a beer, which gave me a license to crack open a beer. So, keeping track of the emotional roller coaster from when I landed in a bad mood, was in a good mood for 5 minutes, got put back into a bad mood, woke up, went out to the lake, was in a good mood, immediately ended up in a bad mood because of all the children tripping on the trail and crying, and then back into a good mood because now I get to enjoy said view of the mountains with beers. So, yeah. So now I'm in an alright mood. I know that it's drink o'clock with the Burb fam. And I get to execute plan, get tipsy and coast. So I get tipsy and coast. I get back in the van, don't know where we're going. Apparently we're going to a waterfall. That's all I heard, is we're going to a waterfall. I take a nap because they woke me up too damn early for this shit. You know, I'm not supposed to even start my day until 11 a.m. at the earliest. That's what it said in my instruction manual when I was born. But these fuckers decided they were going to get me up at 7:30. So I took a nap in the van. Took probably about half an hour to get there. Slept on and off. Actually woke up from it feeling pretty refreshed. And we're apparently at the waterfall. You wouldn't know, mind, that we're at the waterfall. You would have no clue that we're at the waterfall because we pull into this place and it's kind of like off a side road. Pretty much every road except for like the one major highway in Alaska is like your stereotypical country road with nothing on it. We pull off of that into like a gravel road. And we go down like this small hill and we get to this gate and it says private property, no trespassing. So we turn around and we leave. And now my cousin who lives there, who we're visiting, I guess I didn't really give context that I do have a cousin that lives there that we're visiting. She and her husband, I said his, I'm thinking of like my other cousin. I'm thinking of Mike, not Sally. Okay, so Sally and her husband pull in to this gravel road, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing? Turn the fuck around. This is the place. This is the place. I know." So apparently this private property is the place we're going. Now, it's not our private property. I don't know whose private property it is. It's apparently not a government place, unless it is. I don't know. I mean, you can make the argument that a government-owned thing is private. Area 51's pretty private, but I don't think that's what it was. I think someone just owns it and doesn't really care. All it really is a trail. Well, two trails. I'm trying to think of how I want to like describe this, because it's not really a park. You have one trail that goes off and into some trees, and it's super like thin and like hard to navigate. There's a lot of like trees and rocks. You have to like climb over them. And if at any point you fall off of this trail, you are falling into rapids and you are dead. Like 90% of the people, including myself, who were navigating this trail had a beer in hand while we were doing it. So envision that. We're all like one misstep away from actually just being dead in a very painful way. And we're just chilling. So that's the vibe. We walk down this trail first. Yo, RealCorp CEO renewed their membership. Hell yeah. Thank you, RealCorp CEO, for being a Chad. So, where was I? Oh yeah, the trail where we almost died. At this point, Burb Mother apparently had like been dropped off at the house we were gonna be at later for a party. Yo, what's up, Andrew? Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so we get to the end of it, and I swear to fucking God, Sheepy, you saw these pictures. Nariko, I think I sent you these pictures too, of the waterfall. I also posted a picture later this day at this location on Twitter. This is where I made that Skyrim post. That was from the other trail. But this was that waterfall. I get to this place. Yo, what's up, NX? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. We get to this waterfall, and I look at it, and my first instinct is, wow, this is really beautiful. Followed up immediately by, what the fuck? I never should have smoked that gas station weed. I woke up in Unreal Engine 4. Because this place was not real. Like, this place was actually not real. I don't know how else to describe this to you. I mean, you saw the picture on Twitter, maybe, possibly. If not, let me find it. It shouldn't be too far down, actually. I feel like I realize I can just put this in the chat. Yeah. Like, fucking... This place is not real. This is rendered on a 3060. You cannot convince me. When I was asleep on the plane, some fucking dudes from the CIA snuck up behind me and put a goddamn VR headset on me or something. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This place is not real. This is rendered. So fucking... Anyway, I had some good pictures there. Yeah, so I get there. You can actually kind of see where we were standing here. Let me, like, pull this picture up. If you look, like, down to the right behind, like, those bristles, you can kind of see, like, that's where the end of that other trail came out. So, like, geographically, that's, like, where we are. And at this point, after I had taken some pictures and taken it all in, I reached into a cooler that had been refilled because we stopped by those cousins' houses from earlier while I was taking my car nap, and I guess they refilled the cooler. I reached in there, and I pulled out a Bud Light, and I took a very funny picture of me drinking the trans beer in the wilderness. Now, I gotta say, Bud Light is what I think of as, like, default beer. So it wasn't really good or bad, it was just a beer. But I mostly did that for the funny picture. Yo, what's up, Gilded Siren? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Okay, NX, Britain isn't real either. You're also in a fucking psyop. Don't even talk to me about touching grass. Besides, you play CSGO, my guy. Like, L plus ratio plus you play CSGO. Anyway, I crack open this Bud Light, take the picture, and at some point between when I had cracked it open and taken the picture and looked back up, Burb Father had teleported, and he was now standing right in front of me, looking very upset, and I don't think he had noticed what was in my hands yet. Oh, he will. But he comes up to me, and he starts complaining, "Well, what the hell is wrong with this family? Can't even go outside for 5 minutes before someone has to crack open a beer." And then he looks down at my hand, and then he looks back up, and he's just like, "What the hell?" And then walks away. One of the funnier interactions I had with my dad the entire trip. So that happened. We chilled there for like half an hour, just kind of sat, took it in, talked amongst ourselves. Cool stuff. Yo, Andrew, welcome to the members. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you a lot. The notification should come up here on the stream shortly, maybe, if it's working. Yes, you do. Okay. Among Us. Enjoy the emotes and the members only streams if you choose to attend. There is one tomorrow. Yes, we chilled there for like half an hour. There were some interesting moments where there were some other like hikers, like groups of 2 or 3. And again, remember, we are a group of like, we had dropped some people off, so we're a group of like let's say like 28 probably, which is ballpark. And they had to like pass by us on this really thin trail. And they were probably annoyed because, like, you know, as much as I enjoyed just chilling, drinking some brewskis, I'm sure that most hikers are like normal people. And when they encounter a group of almost 30 people, all with beers in hand when they're trying to just have a normal hike, they're probably not like the happiest. So they just kind of like ignored us and acted like we weren't there. And you know what? Fair enough. I probably would have done the same. But we walked back, had that happen a couple times, other hikers trying to get to the place. And we get back, and it wasn't originally part of the plan to even walk up to where I took that Skyrim picture. But we're sitting there and we're realizing it's only like 2 p.m. So we might as well. So we go walk the other trail, which is a lot easier. It's all uphill, it's all on land, big wide trail. People were actually driving ATVs on it. I think they were there to like maintain the grounds though, because they had like outfits on and stuff. They weren't just like random people. Actually, they were probably the FBI handlers that were responsible for making sure I don't figure out that I was in the simulation. That's probably who they were. But we walk up there. It's like a pretty nice, chill 10-minute hike. I actually do enjoy hiking a lot. I like walking. I like cardio. I actually came back looking slightly hotter than I already do normally, so that's kind of a dub. When we walk up there, that's where I take that Skyrim pic. We sit there for another like 20 minutes, walk back down, get back in the car, and we go to my cousin's birthday party. And there wasn't a whole lot that happened there. It was like a normal house party, sit, drink some brewskis. They got a keg for some reason. I wasn't exactly prepared for that power move, but they got a keg. I don't remember what was in it, but it was definitely beer, if you couldn't already guess. We ended up not finishing it and taking it back to the cabins. But there was one thing there where we devised a plan, because we started talking about Cocaine Bear for some reason. I don't remember exactly what started it, but Cocaine Bear was the topic of conversation. And we came up with like a GTA 5 heist level plan for how we could get cocaine, get it into a bear, strap a GoPro to the bear, and see what would actually happen in real life. So that was a fun conversation, but otherwise pretty uneventful. So that's the first day. We go back. Nothing happens. Again, just more sitting around, bullshitting. Ordered Papa's, Papa John's. I don't know why. We could have gotten like a local pizza place. There was one pretty close, but we got Papa's. US motherfuckers be like UK this, UK that, but you can't finish a single keg between 30 people. So I should qualify that more because there are different sizes of kegs. There's like your normal keg, which is like a quarter, I think they call it. We had like a half. So it was like 2 kegs, and we had already been drinking all day. Like most of us were rolling up to this place gone. I rolled up to the place gone. I actually sobered up at the party, though, to be honest. Because whoever was driving the van that had the keg was not a good driver. So it was like mostly foam coming out for a lot of the party. So even if I was like throwing them back, I'm basically just drinking like beer flavored whipped cream. So yeah, the keg really wasn't very, like, it wasn't the optimal choice at the party. But yeah, so that all happened. We go back, order Papa's, watch some old family videos from other vacations from when, like, my aunts and uncles and Burb father were kids and, like, teenagers, seeing what kind of debauchery they got up to, which really is kind of tame. But back then, it was probably some of the wildest shit. But that was pretty fun. And then we hot tubbed it. So it is Alaska and it is cold, but for some reason the cabin still had a hot tub. And that hot tub was located in the bachelor pad with only the single cousins that don't give a fuck. So we very much monopolized it, got in the hot tub, made sure nobody else could get in the hot tub, took the keg up, and that, my friends, is where we killed the keg. And smoked a joint, because that was legal to do in Alaska. So that was a pretty fun night. Did some like hot tub karaoke situation. Probably some of the most fun I had the entire trip, to be honest with you. Just because it was very like chill, very normal. Nothing super out of the ordinary. We need to start speeding it up here though, but it should speed up. Because the next day was actually completely uneventful outside of like the very end. They were doing more hiking. I didn't want to do more hiking because I was still struggling with the fact that I had just gotten off a plane. I was on a plane for like 9 hours 2 days ago. I'm fucking exhausted. Y'all can go do what you want. I'm sleeping in. And so I slept in. And I woke up and I was the only person in my entire cabin for a solid 8 to 10 hours. This was also very pleasant. I got to get some rest. I played some gacha games. I did my weeklies. I ate some pizza from the night before. It was pretty comfy. I mean, I personally don't like doing that NX when I'm like in someone else's home, basically, but I mean, shit, whatever decision you decide to make if you're ever in that situation, good luck to you. But yeah, so that was also one of my favorite days. But it only gets better because when everyone finally got home, again, pretty uneventful night. For the most part, this was actually the day we needed to pack up and leave because we were going to a different town the next day. So there was this whole fight, and there's some foreshadowing in this situation. It was around like 7 p.m. Everyone had had dinner. We're chilling, we're hot tubbing it again, when all of a sudden a bunch of people come storming up and they're like, "You guys better pack your bags. We need to have them in the van tonight." Now it's 7 p.m. Like it's not late. But they were telling us that we needed to have our shit packed and in one of the vans by 8. I did. I mean, I don't pack very much, and I'm good at getting it in and out of my bags when I do. So, I mean, I was fine with it. I just dried off a little bit. I went in, packed my shit, took it down. I was chilling. I was chilling. Was in the living room of the bachelor pad, just hanging out. Apparently there was a lot more drama that went on because there was some I mean, you have like subtweets. What's like sub, like what is like Facebook's equivalent of a subtweet? What would you call that? Like a subface? A subbook? A submeta? I don't fucking use Facebook. I'm not a boomer. But the boomers were apparently subtweeting us on Facebook. So that was cool. And by cool, I mean incredibly hilarious. Not much else to say there, though. It was just, you know, that happened. Keep in the back of your mind for when that same exact scenario comes up, like, I don't know, like half an hour from now. So I'm chilling. Everyone else comes back in. The vibe's killed. We're not gonna get back to hot tubbing it. We're just gonna hang out. We flip on the TV that's in the bachelor pad, which so far we had only really done like, it had a Fire Stick attached to it, so we were doing like Fire Stick. We watched Cocaine Bear one night on the Fire Stick that it had in there. But when we flipped it on, it was on the cable television setting, and it was on a channel that played nothing but like really old reruns of The Price is Right. So we put that on for like 3 hours. We got high again, and we just watched The Price is Right like all night. And it was one of the funnier things, and also one of like the most surreal things that have ever happened to me. Like it just adds more fuel to my theory that I was in a simulation, right? Because like there's no way that's real. There's no way that that's what happened, but that is exactly what happened. So some things about that, just for funsies, because they're not super relevant, but a couple things happened there too. In Alaska, they don't really have commercials because there's like maybe 3 people in the entire state. So who are they really gonna like buy commercials to target? So whatever channel this was, it must have been from somewhere else. If you happen to be in a region that didn't get commercials, it would just play like this song that was like a remix of the Price is Right theme, like for the entire duration of the commercial break. So every time we would like wait for it to happen, we'd get through like the 1-2 like local commercials for like a pizza place or whatever, or like there was one for like the National Senior Home Games or something, some kind of like old people Olympics, I think is what it was. I have no fucking clue exactly what it was, but we laughed at it a lot. But then it would stop for a second. We're like, this is the one, this is the one. And then it would fade in. I don't know, however it goes. I'm not really trying, but it would play this like little jingle. And for the entire duration of this, and I don't know when it became the rule. I don't know how this started. I was like either really out of it or just wasn't paying attention because I didn't care. At some point it became the rule that anytime this song started playing, you had to get out of your seat and dance until the show came back on. So me and all of the other childless cousins in the Burb family were just sitting there like crazy people. And they wonder why we don't have kids. There was another point where we got really invested for no reason in one lady winning like a really good prize. Or I guess it would have been really good in the 80s. I mean, it's not something I would want, but I don't know. We just got really excited about it and we're like, oh, there's no way she wins. And then she did win and we popped off. Like we were like shouting, like yeah, woohoo, let's fucking go, sort of situation. And this whole time, understand, because it's Alaska and bears and meese exist, so they're looking for like bears and like, or like a moose or like any kind of local wildlife. Someone comes running up the stairs and bursts in and they're like, where is it? Did you see a bear? Do you see a bear? We were trying to bait bears out. Which, by the way, not a great idea to bait fucking bears out, but whatever. I was far enough away from it that I didn't care. Apparently they were trying to bait bears out of the woods. So they're like, where do you see the bear? Where was it? What happened? And we're just like, oh, some lady won on The Price is Right in 1980. And without saying a word, she just like left. She just walked back down. So that was fun. So now we're through like basically the first half of the trip. Next morning I have to wake up ungodly early to get on a train of all things. Because we're taking a train from Anchorage, where we were staying, to another town, Seward, which is the town where a lot of like Alaskan cruises and stuff take off. And I actually liked Seward a lot more. It was a lot more like, I guess, touristy, and there was like stuff to do. We got on this train. It was like a 4-hour train, and I didn't even realize it. I thought we were going to be in like the economy class of the train, and it was like basically like flying, but slower and more boring. But no, we had like these tickets that got us a bunch of perks. Like we got a free meal And it wasn't like a cheap meal either. It was like a fancy breakfast restaurant, like a whole like diner situation. You're thinking like Polar Express type dining, if you've ever seen that movie. So you get that. Your seats are actually in this train car that's basically like a dome. So you can get like a bunch of scenery. See a bunch of cool shit like the mountains, waterfalls, rapids, streams. Again, very fake place. Very like... Red Dead Redemption 2. Like the starting area of Red Dead Redemption 2. Like the one with the mountains and the snow. That's what fucking game this train was in. So we're in this dome. Yeah, so that's another one of the perks. We also got like a souvenir badge we got to keep that we wore that basically told them like, these are the fancy guests that paid extra. You need to give them whatever they ask for no matter what. So I basically have license to be a Karen. I'm kidding, obviously, but you know, it's kind of like that. It's like hey, these people are special, treat them special. VIP, you could say. I don't even know what we paid for it. I don't remember if I did or not, but nobody asked me to, and I'm not going to say anything to anyone. But the third perk, and the most important perk, was that all of your drinks, and both the restaurant and the bar sold alcoholic beverages. We got free drinks for the entire train ride. So you have all 25 of these people who have been going through 6 cases of 30 beers per day in a train car together with unlimited drinks that cost us nothing. By the time we got off the train, I was full of mimosa. You know, like the cat picture, like the cat with milk dripping out and it's like full of milk, or like the one Cora made of Iolite and Cora that's like full of 12 pounds of raw carrots. That was me, but full of mimosa. So I'm having another fantastic day. We get back to the cabin. Well, not back to the cabin. We get off the train. There was a group of people that didn't get on the train because they had to transport the vans we rented. We get back in the vans. We go back to our cabins. There's now 3 different ones that are in separate locations, but they're all kind of like in the same neighborhood. And I have some stuff to say about these cabins, but I'll save it for when we're like really settled in. But we could only check into one of them for now. And we did. We got in. I immediately went to a couch. I laid down and I took a 2-hour nap. The reason it was only 2 hours, much to my dismay, is because that same day we had booked a dog sledding tour. Now this was cool as fuck. This was actually like really fucking cool. If you're ever like there, I recommend you try to do like a dog sled tour of some kind. So dog sledding is a big thing in Alaska. You get like 10 dogs, you put them on like a thing and they pull your sled along. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's dog sled is dog sled. And they have a big race called the Iditarod. And they have these people that they call it mushing. They mush the dogs and they do the Iditarod, which is like, it's a lot of miles. It takes like, the world record is like 8 days. And it was actually held by the guy who owns the place where we did the tour, apparently, allegedly. I can't really confirm that, but I mean, he did have a lot of awards in the place. So, I mean, shit, I believe it. So yeah, we went there. And it turns out during the summer, there's no snow, obviously, and the race is only once a year, so obviously you have to keep all your dogs in shape and train them and stuff. And the way they do that, it's actually very clever. During the summer, when there's no snow, they get these basically like golf carts without an engine, and they hook the dogs up to them, and they take people around in tours, and that's how the dogs stay in shape. So, I mean, I just thought that was like a really interesting way of doing that, because it's like, 1, you get to train the dogs, and 2, you get to make a bit of extra money for For like the tours. They get money from selling the tickets for the tour. That's the thing. Do you know that mush is not actually a term used for dog sledding IRL? It was a Hollywood creation. I believe that, but like they were using it there. Maybe it's just because like, I mean, one, it's easy and recognizable, and two, like that's kind of what people expect you to call it. But that's a good point. I mean, I wouldn't have known that, but it makes a lot of sense. In any event, it was a pretty cool thing. So you could fit like 7 people, and then you can fit 7 people in the thing, in the seats, and then you can fit one more person on the back. They have to stand up. And then you have the actual musher, or I mean, I guess like the driver. I don't know. I don't know what the actual term is, but they get on the back, kind of like it's actual dog sledding, and they'll be back there like shouting the commands. And then they also have like a kind of steering wheel thing to sort of direct where we're going in case the dogs screw something up. Now, well, let's step back a bit, okay? Because we pull up to the dog sledding place and we get out of the vans and we go inside and we tell them, hey, we booked a tour for like 30 people. And they're like, oh yeah, the Burb family, we know you, we were ready for you. And this was a trend the whole trip. I think we were the biggest group of people to ever like go on a vacation to Alaska. Like, holy God. So people were like almost scared of us when we would like roll up to the things we had paid for ahead of time. They're like, oh God, they actually showed up. So we get to the place, we go in and we pay, or not pay, we show the stuff or whatever. We're like, we paid, haha. And then they're like, hey, let me go get the tour guide. And they go get the tour guide. And I'm like, God damn, if that ain't the cutest person I've ever seen who works at a dog sledding place. She actually was. She was like college age, kind of like myself, like maybe slightly post-grad. In fact, actually, we asked her about how she got there, but for privacy's sake, in case anyone tracks this place down, somehow, because they're creeps, I'm not going to actually give that information about her. But like, she was like around the same age as me, so I'm like, I'm gonna try to rizz her up. I'm gonna see if I can do it. Spoiler alert, I could not do it. But I did get a cool experience out of it because she was the one driving our thing, our like golf cart looking ass thing. And I volunteered to be person number 8 who stands on the back with her. And that was definitely the coolest seat, because the other ones had like seat belts and you were like cordoned in and there was no risk. Back there, you got nothing. You just got to hold on for dear life. And this track is not very well kept. So there was a non-zero chance that my ass, still like half tank of mimosa, was just going to go flying off, bash my head into a rock, and that's it for Burb. But I didn't, and therefore the experience was very fun. And then we got back and they had a litter of puppies that, because obviously they have to breed the dogs too. They don't live forever. So part of it's breeding the dogs. They had like a fresh new litter of puppies. There were like 8 of them. They were real cute. We like passed them around, got to hold them. I can't confirm this, but I think someone in the tour, not from Burb Fam, we were in a tour group with a few other people, a couple other smaller families. I'm pretty sure one of those families stole one of the puppies. And the reason I'm pretty sure this happened is because there were, and I don't remember the exact number, I'm pretty sure it was 8 puppies. And at one point when we were passing them around, I saw one lady with like, the puppy's head was sticking out of her coat. And I wasn't paying super close attention, but I'm pretty sure that only 7 puppies went back into their containment zone. I don't know what else to call it, like the kennel or something. It was just like outdoors, I had like a fence. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I only counted 7 going back in, and the tour guide did not even count them to make sure. So yeah, hopefully that didn't happen, but if it did, I hope that puppy found a good home. But they were cute. I enjoyed that part of it. I'm more of a cat person, but these things were like really small and really fluffy, and I kind of loved it. But then we went back, nothing else to really report. We had a little bit of a debacle because we had to get all of the supplies like distributed between the 3 different cabins, and by this point the other ones we could check in and get our stuff in. I got to my cabin and nothing super much else happened. We grilled out back at like that main first cabin, and then we went home. I went upstairs to the couch where I would be sleeping for the rest of the vacation, and I slept on that couch. The cabin I ended up in, it wasn't my cabin obviously, it was actually the best cabin in my opinion. It was really cool. It was actually hand built by the hosts, but the hosts had some very peculiar rules. So this is that part now where we are settled into the cabins, we know where we're staying, all our stuff is there. I can finally complain about the hosts of our Verbo. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the rules applied to all of them, but ours was the worst for a reason that, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward reason. Ours was the only one where the hosts lived in the cabin. Well, not in the cabin, sorry. On the property in a different cabin, sorry. So they're in like this tiny little house. I assume they live in the cabin when they don't have guests, but then when they do, you know, they prepare it, they get out, they go live in this smaller house. So if we broke any of the rules, they would know. The other 2 cabins, they would not know. So in Seward, there are a lot of rules for cabins, and the reason is that if you're normal, you are not going to Alaska. If you're normal, you're going to Alaska for 2 reasons, okay? You're either going to Alaska to get on a cruise in Alaska, or you're going to Alaska to fish. You are not going to Alaska to bring 25 people that drink like sailors. We went to Alaska to drink like sailors. So a lot of these cabins are built around fishing, as you might imagine. They have one rule, which is fair enough, where if you catch any fish, they have to be cut at the dock. You can't cut them at the place because it's going to smell up the place. I get it. That one's fine. And I should say we did go fishing and we did catch fish. I mean, it was actually pretty fun. You know, I'm pretty good at it. I have some of that like very, very, very distant seagull blood probably in me, so I know what I'm doing. Thankfully, I did not get the part of seagull genetics that make me like feet, but power to you if you do like feet. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so that rule's fine, if a little bit annoying, because, I mean, you might not have the equipment to cut your fish at the dock, or like on the boat, whatever. The other big rule is that, and I'm pretty sure this was true for all of the cabins, there is a person limit. There is like a number of people max that can be in the cabin. Now these aren't small cabins, and most of the time that number limit in the other 2 cabins, not the one I was staying in, the limit was more of like a fire hazard thing. Like, you know, if you have more than this many people and something happens, well, you're screwed because you're not going to be able to get everyone out of the cabin in time. Fair enough. That's fine in any rental property. I have no issue with that. That makes sense. That's just like pragmatism. Our cabin, the cabin I was staying in, they had a limit of 10 people. This is a 2-story cabin with 12 beds in it. Now, mind you, 2 of them were child size, which is what led to me sleeping on a couch. But there are 12 beds and a limit of 10 people, including children. And the reason they gave for this is because apparently they had had a group of college kids or something stay there before, and they trashed the place. And so now, you are no longer allowed to have a group as big as that group of college kids. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you have a group of people that trash a place, the reason they trash, like the cause of them trashing a place is not the number of people in the group. 10 people can trash a giant cabin. 1 person can trash a giant cabin. Now, it probably sounds like I'm mad over nothing because, you know, why not just go to another cabin? One of them's walking distance. I didn't mention that, but one of them is like relatively close walking distance. Got some good exercise walking back and forth, actually, because of this exact thing. But the reason that this is so upsetting is you'll remember that some of us like to hot tub it. This cabin was the only cabin with a hot tub. We were not allowed to have any more than the 10 people that were staying at this cabin at the cabin. So 2/3 of the family, actually more than 2/3 of the family, was just unable at all to step foot in like the good cabin. That should have been the hangout spot. Like, this place was dope as hell. Like I said, it was hand built by the host, which is cool. It had a really nice layout. It had a lot of bedrooms. It could fit a lot of people. A lot of space to move around. And we barely even got to stay in it. So that's my rant about the cabin I was staying in. Really nice people, though. The hosts were actually really nice. I just, actually almost too nice. I didn't really want to argue with them. But I do think they're kind of dumbasses for that one, because, like, and again, nobody's told me I'm wrong about this, so I'm gonna assume that most people think like me. 10 people can absolutely trash a cabin. You just haven't met the right 10 people. Next day, nothing eventful at all. I actually made a tweet on this day about what I was doing. If anyone remembers it, congrats, you win this cool rock I found outside. I stayed in again. I woke up, I drank, and I played gacha games. And that was my day. Around dinner time, I went out and, well, the whole family went out. And we went to we went to a seafood place. I don't know why that was so hard for me to think of in my brain. But we went to a seafood place, and it was actually pretty good. It was reasonably priced, and that is also foreshadowing, so keep in mind that the seafood here was reasonably priced. And that was my day. That was another really good one because nothing happened, so we'll skip that one. The next day, I got on a boat. So we woke up early. I had my day of rest, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I was able to go to bed. I was able to wake up. We got in a boat, and this boat went whale watching. It wasn't really whale watching specifically. It was like a wildlife tour sort of thing. So you get on the boat, you go out on the Pacific, and the first thing it does is it makes a beeline to some kind of island that I guess is owned by the tour place that runs it. Because what they do is they take you there, and the entire island, it's nothing but like some bathrooms, a little place where you can eat like this microwave heated buffet food and a really pricey gift shop, and they leave you there for an hour stranded. This island isn't connected to any other land, and there's nothing else to do. I didn't buy anything, but I was very tempted just out of boredom, and by the fact that they very strategically did not place a cell tower anywhere near the island. So I couldn't even, like, get on Discord or play Honkai Star Rail or, like, scroll through Twitter and play the Russian roulette game of will my family see me looking at anime titties, which is a game I played a lot throughout this trip, as you might imagine. It never happened, or if it did, nobody ever said anything to me. But yeah, I'm also usually pretty good at catching that and scrolling off right away. But I couldn't even do that on this island because there was nothing there but a gift shop. But I held out, I stayed strong, and I did not buy anything in the gift shop, and I was very proud of myself. Get back on the boat. That's when you start looking at wildlife. So the first thing it does, it goes by the coast. You can see some sea lions. You can see some like seagulls, some puffins. They pretty much always know those are there. In fact, I was actually kind of confused. How do I like describe this? There were like some kind of where the sea lions, the ones that are like fat and lay around. I guess like seals, sea lions, something like that. Anyway, this is like a conservatory area, so they have like a solar powered camera there. Yeah, seals. I don't know the difference between a seal and a sea lion. I don't even know if there is a difference. There might not be. Seal might just be short for sea lion. But yeah, they're all chilling on some rocks, and they got a solar powered camera on them so they can keep track of them. And as they pointed that out, and I realized what the weird solar panel camera thing was out on this rock, I thought to myself, I wonder how they keep track of which one's which for like their studies and stuff that they probably do out here. So I took my camera out after that thought, and I zoomed in on them to get some good pictures, and I noticed something wild. Every single one of these creatures has a number tattooed on them. It's very hard to see if you're not looking for it, but every single one of them has a tattoo with an identifying number on it. And that shit was very strange. I'm back. I left, but I see seals in chat. Yeah, we're talking about I went on a boat tour and I saw some seals and they had tattoos of numbers so that scientists can like keep track of them. But yeah, so we saw that there was like this rock full of nothing but seagulls. Unfortunately, I didn't have any feet pics for them. But you know, it is what it is. Some puffins, those were cool. Yeah, they're protected animals. Yeah, I get why. I was just kind of shook when I'm like, oh shit, they're like dripped out. What the hell? So that was kind of neat. Just felt like sharing. But yeah, saw some of my Birbation. And then after that, we saw some like otters or something, some like creatures. Then we drove off, and this was the part where basically we had been on the tour for 3 hours of the, well, like 2.5 of the 5, I guess. Spend like an hour getting to the island, an hour trapped on the island. You go out, you go by the coast, you look at like the wildlife they know are gonna be there. And then the rest of the 2.5 hours is spent basically just like boating around aimlessly in like the middle of the Atlantic and hoping you're lucky enough to see a whale come up for air. So I took a nap for like an hour and a half, figuring like, if we actually see a whale, it's gonna get real loud on this boat, because that's like what people paid for. And I was right, because about an hour and a half later, everyone's like screaming and moving around. I'm thinking, there's probably no chance we're gonna see a whale. But I guess we got lucky. because there was in fact a whale. Now the way they do this, I think, is they have a bunch of boats out there and they all have radios, and if one of them sees one, they're like, hey, go to these coordinates, you'll see a whale. And then all the boats go to the coordinates, because there's like 5 of these tour boats just like chilling out here watching this whale. Took me a bit to see it. Apparently like blew stuff out of its spout or whatever, like twice. I didn't see it. I saw the third one, and then I saw it dive down, and I was still like looking for it, so I didn't have like a clear picture of it or anything. Second time, same thing happens. I couldn't tell where the fuck it was until it was almost too late, and then it left. On the third one, I finally saw it right away because it was a little bit closer, and I got a decent shot of the top of its head and then a little bit of its tail as it was diving under, and I was proud of myself. But I can say with certainty now that I have seen a whale in person, kind of, behind glass inside of a boat about a mile away. But it was still a whale. And it's probably a good thing that it was a mile away, because if there was a whale right up next to the boat, my dumbass absolutely would have jumped off the boat and tried to ride it, because I am extremely unhinged. So that was the boat tour. We go back and it's time for dinner. Now, we had been sent a menu the day before. And the reason we had been sent a menu for this restaurant is because... What was I? I've been talking for a long time. My brain is starting to go. So the reason we had the menu is because the question was, here's where we have reservations for after the boat tour. Is everyone still in? And at the time, everyone was still in. By the time we got off the boat, everyone but a group of 8 of us, including myself, had canceled the reservations. Now, I didn't even bother looking at the menu because I'm a very, like, just roll with it type of person on these. I don't care what the plan is. Unless I'm exhausted, I'm gonna get in whatever vehicle we're getting in, and I'm gonna go do whatever we're doing, because I have nothing better to do anyway, and there will probably be alcohol involved. And while I was correct in that assumption, what I hadn't prepared myself for by ignoring the text from the previous night is how expensive this fucking place was. Now, I must preface this with a very, very, very big disclaimer. Please do not go harass this restaurant or anyone who works there. But I am going to tell you the name of it so that if you ever end up in Seward, Alaska, you don't go there. I'm making sure I get the name right. Ray's Waterfront. Fuck Ray's Waterfront. We walked in this restaurant and I was thinking, ah yes, another good place where they will sell good seafood at a reasonable price. I walked in there, I sat down, I looked at the menu, I saw the price of the fish and chips. It was fucking like $40. And that was the cheapest seafood dish on the goddamn menu. Like, are you fucking around with me? So I'm like, okay, well, I do want fresh caught fish. I get it. We're in Alaska, whatever. I'll get the $40 fish and chips. And it's gonna be damn good, right? Because it's in Alaska. If they ain't brought out just a goddamn Long John Silver's takeout box of fish and chips, motherfucker, like, I tell you what they're doing. They're getting these tourists to come in here. They charge them $40, and then they get like this 17-year-old to get in their car, speed over to Long John Silver's, get some fish and chips for like $5, cart them back, and then they make a $35 profit. This shit had me mauling. This shit had me fucking mauling. Now let me, it's not actually a Long John Silver's meal. I'm sure it was fresh fish. I'm sure they cooked it in the restaurant. And I mean, I'm sure some of the other dishes too are like good. But I'm like very, and I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I'm like very against fine dining. I hate fancy dining. I hate places that charge more than $20 per meal. Like in general, that's just like not my vibe. I get it if you eat food for the taste, if you're like that type of person. I'm just not. It wasn't the restaurant for me. And boy howdy do I wish that I also would have canceled my reservation, because I get why everyone else did. I fucking get it. Okay? All things considered, I mean, it was decent. It was fish. It tasted good. It tasted a little bit better than Long John Silver's. But I would have expected to, like, get actual food portions and not, like, a fucking Long John Silver's takeout box. So yeah, I would not recommend eating at Ray's Waterfront in Seward, Alaska. I think that was the most angry I got the entire trip. Of course, I didn't act on it. I'm not a Karen. I don't care in haha. But, you know, inwardly, and I think I even went on a rant on about it in the Discord. In my brain, I was like, fuck these people. I will never go within 30 feet of this place ever again. Actually, I will not even go within the same state of this place ever again. So we go home. Otherwise, pretty uneventful night. We ended up hot tubbing it again a little bit. I didn't actually drink on this day, though. This was the one day of the trip where, outside of like one cider that I had on the boat, because it was craft and it looked good, or sounded good, I guess, both, I didn't have like any alcohol. And that probably added to my frustration too, because I just generally did not feel good because I had been drinking for almost a week straight, basically. But you know, you do what you gotta do to survive the Burb family vacation, you know? You feel me? Next day, the last full day, we're finally almost done, and I am feeling very excited to be almost done. So excited, in fact, that I slept in. Now, this was a fucking mistake. I left out a part of the story because I wanted this to be its own segment. I don't know if Nariko, you're still here. I think you're the only one who I shouted about it, like, extensively. But you know what's coming. This is the part where I talk about that. So, the boat, the previous day. The boat leaves at 12. Seward, Alaska is not a large place. We are roughly 5 minutes drive away from the boat, and we have a van. They tell us we have to be out of the cabin at 11 to make it to this boat. Now that's bullshit. And when I hear something like that, like any reasonable person would do, I think, okay, we're gonna aim for 11-ish, and then yeah, we have time to like go grab a quick breakfast, hang around, get everything situated before we get on the boat. All right, so I wake up at 10. I scroll through Twitter for a little bit while I'm still like shaking off the sleepiness, the grogginess from being asleep, as you do. And then around 10:30, I go to take a shower. I take about a 10-minute shower. I guess it was probably this day more like 10:40, 10:45-ish, and I take a 10-minute shower. So I'm getting out around like 10:55, almost 11. But by this point, nobody else except my immediate Burb family, because they're a bunch of freaks and goddamn idiots. I could not get a moment of peace in this shower, even if I did want to take a long shower. Because it was a fucking rotation, okay? You'd get Burb Mother. She comes in. She's like, Ezra, we gotta leave in 20 minutes. And then I get like 2 minutes. I'm like, okay. All right. And then about 2 minutes later, Burb Father, hey, Ezra, you only got about 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, I get it. Okay. Then Burb Mother, again, another about 2 minutes. Hey, Ezra, we gotta leave. Getting close to the wire here. So I'm out of the shower. I dry off. I have long, gorgeous locks of hair that I gotta like dry off and clean. You know, like it's not a fast process, but like it's not like I'm like lazing around either. So I'm walking out ready to go around like 10:58, and the entire rest of the cabin is just chilling. They don't give a shit, okay? They don't care. Right? Because why would you? You know, if we don't leave at exactly 11, it's fine. We're gonna make it because the boat leaves at 12, and it is a 5-minute drive with traffic to where we need to be to get on the boat. And for the next like 15 minutes, I am getting shouted at for almost making us late to the boat by my Burb parents. We get to the other cabin because we have to pick people up. We get to that other cabin, like, you know, it's like a 5-minute walk, so you can imagine it's like a minute drive. We get to the other cabin to pick up some other people because we have extra seats in our van. These were pretty sizable vans. And I swear to fucking God, we were sitting in that driveway for 10 minutes. At this point, it is after 11. At this point, it is after the time that, ooh, we had to leave the cabin. We had to get out of there. We're gonna miss the boat. We're sitting there for like 10 minutes before people finally come out to get in the van. For the rest of the day, hell, the rest of the trip, every time anything like that happened, I was being an absolute bitch baby bastard about it, because honestly, at that point, I kind of fucking deserved to be petty about it. Every time anyone was a minute late for anything, I'm like, come on, what the hell? Start yelling at them. Come on. We're gonna be late. Come on, what are you doing? Come on. And I'm sure people were tired of it, but I wasn't. I thought it was funny as shit because fuck these people. So anyway, the reason that's relevant is because the next day, the day after the boat, the last full day of the trip, nothing scheduled. Nothing at all is scheduled. We said, okay, there's a group of people that like waking up early. They're gonna go hike around 6 a.m. I don't like waking up early. I didn't go hiking at 6 a.m. There was a group of people that were gonna get up at 8 a.m. and go salmon fishing. Two things. One, it's way too early in the day for you to actually catch any salmon at that time. You're supposed to go when it's like getting later at night. And two, I didn't want to wake up at 8 a.m. So the final option for an outing is going shopping in downtown Seward. And we'll get to that. This was actually really cool. I really liked downtown Seward a lot. But the process of getting there is some fucking deja vu. Now, this day, I saw it coming. So I got out of bed a bit earlier. I got my shower a bit earlier. I was ready to go around 10:55 this time. And I'm thinking, surely we won't have a repeat of what happened again. Surely, since we don't have anything scheduled that we paid for, that like we need to get to, it won't happen again. We're gonna leave around 11. Nobody's gonna be stressed. We're just going. We're gonna go look at some stuff, maybe buy some souvenirs on our last day here. It'll be comfy. Well, I'll be damned if it ain't fucking happen again. I'm told, Ezra, You need to get in the shower right now, or we're not gonna make it out of the cabin by 11. So I'm on time. I mean, I'm done at like 10:59 this time, like completely done. I'm ready to go, shoes on. When Burb Father now, who's been part of the problem this entire time, about this whole, oh, well, we said we're leaving at 11, we're leaving at 11. Well, suddenly Burb Father needs to go piss. So Burb Father goes piss. And Burb Mother is on a fucking warpath about it. Holy fuck, she was upset. Like, damn, if you thought she was pissed at me about taking a shower and being, like, right on time. Well, the revelation that my dad needed to go piss when we needed to be out of the cabin at 11 to make it to our scheduled nothing. Oh boy. So we go over to the other cabin again to pick up the people who didn't go to any of the other 2 excursions. They wanted to go shopping. There's 3 of them. They're sitting in there waiting. And one of them says, hold on just a sec. I need to go pee. Now, my mother isn't in here. I was the only one who actually got out to go grab people. I go in, you know, that happens. And I'm like, oh no, you can't do that. Don't tell my mom about this one. So now to make a point, everyone in the house, including me, and also my cousin who joined later because he was wondering what was going on. We all agreed to go take a piss one by one. There are like 3 bathrooms in this cabin, but we agreed to do it one by one just to piss my mother off. And it worked. It worked better than I could have possibly imagined. So if you ever wonder if I'm a petty motherfucker, the answer is yes, I'm a petty motherfucker. But we got to downtown Seward around like 12, and it was otherwise pretty good. There's a lot of cool shops there. My favorite one, there were like your regular souvenir shops. There was a weed store. It was the last day, so I didn't buy any weed from there, but there was a weed store, which was surreal because in an otherwise, like, I don't know, pretty like, I don't know, reserved place, I guess you could say. Like, the people aren't really like it's not a party place. Most of the people there, like, retirees or like just like old. There's like normal folks. It's not the type of place you'd even expect to have legal weed. But yeah, there's a weed store in downtown Seward. It's called like the Baked Puffin or something. And Lord help my mom, who treats weed like it's heroin, even though she smoked when she was my age. She thought it was like a bakery and almost went in and was mortified when she figured out what it was. She laughed about the situation and actually got a picture of me next to it, but that shit was funny. The fucking Baked Puffin or something like that. It was something like that. I don't know. But my favorite store was this one that didn't even have a sign. I think we just like accidentally ended up in it trying to go somewhere else. But it was a store that sells like, it's owned by a Russian guy and I guess like a lady from India, and I guess they're married or something. I don't know. I didn't really talk to them too much, but it was this really cool store where they sold a lot of like stuff from that part of Asia. Like, that's on one side, so you got a lot of like cool statues and cool like spiritual objects and like paraphernalia and stuff. I don't know if that's the right word or not. I'm trying to be respectful about it. Unfortunately, I don't really know enough about like Eastern religion to know like which one they were. There was probably some Hinduism, some Buddhism. I don't know, just a lot of cool stuff like that, stuff I find really interesting. And then the store's split down the middle, and the other half is a bunch of old Soviet Union propaganda. And like other stuff from that era. So like you had some cool stuff. You could buy like propaganda posters. There were some like authentic hats, authentic outfits. They even had some like gulag prisoner outfits. And they also had some like old Deutschmarks, which was the currency in Germany, like pre-World Wars. They had just like a bunch of cool like historical stuff from like that era of history, and it was really cool. I didn't buy any. Did I buy any? I don't think I bought any. I think my mother bought some because she's huge into like history and stuff. But that stuff was really cool. That was, I think, my favorite shop in all of downtown Seward. Obviously, we didn't go in everything because there was a lot of different like touristy stuff, but we did that. We went into a few other shops, and then we sat down, had some brewskis, had some cheaper seafood, which was much needed after the previous day's food. There was also a food truck on our way back. I need to drink some water. I think my voice is going is what's happening. Sorry if I blew anyone's ears out with that cough. But on the way back to the van to go somewhere else, we saw this food truck. There were two food trucks. There was one that was selling like burritos for some reason. Not really the type of food truck you'd expect in Alaska, but I mean, I'm sure they were bussin'. I don't think I've ever had like food truck Mexican food that wasn't top tier. Not that I have food truck food often in general. But next to it was a donut place, and we were wondering what the breakfast situation would be the next day because we had to like leave, check out, drive back to the airport. What did I lost my train of thought again. The donuts, that's right. So we have this brilliant idea. Hey, there's a food truck that sells donuts, and it's a food truck, so they're probably pretty good. So we go there and we get 2 dozens of donuts. So 24 donuts. And we got half. They sold 2 types. They had cinnamon and they had powdered. The cinnamon donuts had like a sprinkling of cinnamon, and the powdered donuts had nothing. And the actual donuts themselves were not donuts. They were deep fried bread. And we paid, I want to say, like $15 for like these tiny deep fried dough balls. That shit was upsetting. So if you're ever there, first of all, go to the weed store and tell me how the selection is. Second, go to that propaganda store, because that place is dope as shit. And third, do not go to the donut truck. I am begging you. Do not go to the donut truck. What's up, Ame? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Don't go to the donut truck, is what we learned today, in case you're trying to get caught up on the lore. So we get done there. We're pissed off, but we're going to eat them anyway because we paid for them. It was pretty miserable. But I mean, it's fried bread, so I mean, it's just like, at best, it's neutral. So we eat those, and while we drive to... They were buñuelos, I guess is how you would say that, because it has like the little squiggly thing on the end. You say that, but it wasn't. The food truck was labeled mini donuts. The only thing they sold was the donuts. That was the only thing on the menu, was the donuts. So, I appreciate you being willing to give this food truck the benefit of the doubt, but don't. While we're eating these, pretty miserable experience. We're driving to this other place. It's like deeper down. You just keep going in the direction we took to get to downtown, to get to this place called the Black Sand Beach, which is called that because it is a beach with black sand. So it pretty much was what you expected. And as you probably expected, we met up with the rest of the family that was all done with their stuff, and they had a cooler of beer. We stayed on the beach for about an hour and skipped rocks and drank beer, and it was relatively pleasant. As with most things where I have this experience that is relatively pleasant and leaves me with a sense of like relative happiness given the situation, it is about to immediately come crumbling down because it is time for everyone to figure out what the plan is for dinner. And we decide on pizza, this time from a local place, because in the entire town of Seward, there are no chain pizza places. But pizza is the easiest option because we need to go home the next day, and buying groceries really isn't viable. Nobody wants to call this local mom and pop pizza place to order 12 large pizzas. So eventually, they decide, hey Ezra, you are being voluntold to tell the place to prepare 12 large pizzas. I kind of want the pizza, okay? So even though this is like the most heinous thing you can ever do to a food service employee, and I understand, and I feel very bad about it, but for what it's worth, if you happen to be listening to this and recognize my voice, the pizzas were really good, you did a really good job, and you deserved the very large tip that I ended up leaving you. I call this place. I tell them I would like 8 large pepperoni pizzas and 4 large cheese pizzas. And I would like them to be ready for pickup today. And the lady says, so 12 pizzas. And I'm like, yep. And she's like, all large? And I'm like, yep. And she says, that'll be an hour and a half. And then someone in the background, I hear in the background, now, Ame, I see you. I'm actually going to stop here to justify this. That is what I was told to order. If it were me, I would have gotten like, you know, more of a variety. But that's what I was told to order. And frankly, at this point, even though I'm in a relatively good mood from the beach and the brewskis, I'm not going to argue with anyone. I'm ready to just get food, eat food, go to bed, wake up, and begin the long journey back to the nest. So I'm not going to put up a fight on this. So I order the pizza. She says, 12 pizzas. Yes. All large. Yes. Okay, that'll be an hour and a half. And then I hear someone in the background, presumably from the kitchen, who knows more about what it takes to make these pizzas. And she's like, no, actually, it's going to be 2 hours. And she follows that up with, we recommend calling a day ahead of time. And I thought this meant that, like, she wasn't going to do it, which was not the news I wanted to hear. Because even though I would understand if that were what we were going for, like if I understand why you would say, no, we're not doing this order. And I'm very thankful they didn't, because I was a hungry burb. She follows it up, like I said, with, we recommend calling ahead next time, a day ahead. And I didn't know how to respond to this, so I just stayed silent for a bit. And she's like, are you there? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, we recommend calling ahead a day ahead of time next time, just so you know. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm sorry. But thank you. I'll see you in 2 hours. And she's like, yep, see you in 2 hours. And amazingly, she did not charge me over the phone. I don't know why not. I don't know if it was just because she was like stunned that someone ordered that many pizzas, because it is Alaska after all. Like maybe 3 people live there total. So I'm sure they don't frequently get orders over like 2 pizzas. So it's probably not even something they had protocol for. But in most cases, if you order a pizza like that over the phone, and mind you, the reason I even called and didn't do it online is because it was a small enough place to not have online ordering. So to tell you like the type of place we're dealing with. And I felt kind of bad. Like I almost wanted to call back and be like, hey, can you like charge me for those now so you know I'm going to get them? Like I'm looking out for you on your behalf. But I didn't do that because I didn't want to annoy her more. But like, you just have to think, if someone calls in an order for that many pizzas, are you really not going to ask for the money up front? Like, what if I just never showed up? What if I wasted your time and then you don't even make the money for the pizzas, right? I mean, we did go get them. We went about like an hour and a half later. They were ready early. We paid. I left a big tip, like I said, because obviously. But like, imagine if I hadn't. Imagine like the loss. Like imagine the costs of goods sold on that, and then you don't even like make the sale. I don't know. I mean, just like the part of me that knows how finance works, I'm like, they probably would have gotten fired if I hadn't shown up and paid. But I did, and it was really good pizza. But having to be the face of that whole debacle was unpleasant, to say the least, because the entire time, like, I get it. Food service sucks. I don't want to do that to people. So, again, my inner peace from sitting on a beach for an hour drinking brewskis was immediately gone. Because I had to put up with that shit. But we ate the pizza and went to bed, woke up, got our shit together, left, and there's really no stories to tell from this day. I actually was ready like way ahead of time because I wanted to get home. I was ready to fucking go home. Our flights weren't until like the nighttime. We had to drive all the way back from Seward to Anchorage, which isn't a trivial drive. We stopped along the way at an animal conservatory thing. We saw some meese. We saw some bears. We saw a couple porcupines. We saw some like some burbs. I don't remember what type of burbs. There was this really cute Japanese family that, like, I wish I knew enough Japanese to converse with, because that would have been cool. But they kept asking us to take their pictures in front of things, and it was really nice. It was really pleasant. Pretty good experience, pretty good cool down, good break from all the driving. Rest of the way to the airport, turn in the vans, get to the airport. And again, Burb family made the airport experience miserable because they have to overcomplicate everything. And then we were on the flight home. And then I got home, and this was last Saturday. I got home, I took a nap, and then I took another nap. And that was basically my day on the day I got home. So that was Burb. That was Burb trip. That was like the what's happening in a very long-winded format so that I can make this stream long enough that I feel accomplished. Overall, more good than bad, honestly, which is better than I expected. Saw a lot of cool shit. Drank a lot of beer. And most importantly, didn't have to do a whole lot of work, if any, outside of putting up with people that piss me off. So yeah, when I came back, I wouldn't say burnout, but I mean, I was kind of like, human job was getting to me. So taking some time off of it. I came back to a lot of fires to put out, and it's still kind of stressful, but you know, at least having that break, it sort of let me cool off and not think about it for a bit. And now we're back, and I get to stream again, which is like the one thing I missed from my day-to-day life, is the ability to be the funny burb on the internet. And yeah, I think it was worth going on. I think it was a good experience, and I am glad to be back because a lot of happened and I was very tired from it, and I'm still recovering from the jet lag. But yeah, that's me. That's pretty much everything. The bacon stretch! Oh god. I'm a pretty good storyteller because I really sat here and listened to the whole thing. Hell yeah. Good to hear it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I should do these just chatting streams more because I'm good at it. I just don't get to show that off a lot because I enjoy playing video games. You finally take off the VR headset, though? Well, I assume so, because things back in Birbtown, where my nest is, in Birbtown, they look normal and real, as opposed to Alaska, which looked fake. But yeah, that's it. That's story time with Burb. I don't really have anything else to say. I've already been live for over 2 hours. I guess we can call it. Any questions? Anyone want any, like, clarification or, like, more details on anything? Any, like, fun... anything funny? Like, funny jokes? Funny joke. Will you ever willingly go back? If it's with friends... yes, actually. If it's with family, I'm going to block any family member that ever suggests going back to Alaska. Immediately. I actually do recommend it, though, if you go with people you like. It is a really cool place. I like this new noise I'm making. I think I picked it up from Nariko, if I had to guess. Or maybe Zeki. It's a good way to fill air when you don't know what to talk about. How would you rate Ray's Waterfront out of 10? -3. And that's because on top of it being expensive, a couple people at the table, I don't think I talked about this one, but a couple people at the table ordered alcoholic beverages before they ordered their food. And the alcoholic beverages, which were not like cocktails, they were just like draft beer, did not make it to the table until they were almost done eating. So on top of being expensive as shit, the service wasn't even good. It also took us forever to get the meals too. Like, we're not talking about like a 20-minute wait for these drinks. We're talking like an hour. So yeah, terrible restaurant. Don't go there. Don't harass them, obviously. I'm not about to send an angry mob of hate to a restaurant that most people will never see in their lives. But I'm just saying, if you ever happen to see it, there's your cautionary tale. Don't go there. So yeah. Ray's fucking Waterfront. So yeah. That's the Birbcation in a nutshell. A pretty large nutshell, but I mean, it was a week and a half and I condensed it into like 2 hours, so we're out here. Let me find someone to raid, and then we will call it. The goddamn. Ooh, Sky. There's nobody in RealCorp live, which is really sad. But Sky Shinryu from Ian is playing Silent Hill on hardware, and I like Silent Hill, so we're gonna go watch her play Silent Hill. Cool individual, comfy individual. I think kind of similar vibes to me, actually, and she also has wings. I don't know if she's a burb. I don't know what she is. I think like an angel or something. I don't know. Imagine knowing what VTubers actually are. Could not be me. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. I would love to do more story times in the future if I ever have like a long story. But I do really enjoy these like rambling, chatting streams more than I thought I would. Because, like I said, I usually like playing video games, but I do want to do more of these. I want to get good at doing them, and I enjoy them. So, hope you did too. Tomorrow is members only, and then who knows if I'll show up on someone else's stream. No idea. Probably not, but it's possible. Thursday, I have a collab with Guesty, and then afterwards, and I'll put the waiting room up soon-ish. I'll make a waiting room for Final Fantasy 16 because I want to play that on launch. It's a new game. So that'll be Thursday. And then Friday ASMR, Saturday big event, 24-hour stream. Mark your calendar, show up at some point. You'll have plenty of time to show up. Donate to charity if you can. Either way, being there, liking the stream, boosts it a lot. Appreciate it. Goes to good cause. So looking forward to that. Hope to see you there at the very least. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. So thank you for hanging out. I enjoyed this. Vtuber. Bye-bye.